Hey everyone, welcome to The New Populist. I'm Dave Brown. If you are new to this channel, please like and subscribe. I want to discuss this Canadian trucker protest because I think it's much more complicated a situation than people really understand, in a good way, but also in a very dangerous way. Unlike other previous protests, this one has the potential to cause real damage and really scare the political establishment. And I can compare it to a protest we had here in the United States, the Occupy Wall Street protest. And that protest persisted for a fairly long time. And it got a lot of attention, a lot of media coverage, and every day it was discussed on the nightly news. But that protest, what did it actually do? What did it actually endanger? Were stockbrokers unable to sell stock? Did the stock market shut down? What did it actually prevent, or what did it actually stop from happening? Nothing really. It was a circus, a sideshow. It was a few square blocks in New York City where people were camping, playing drums, defecating on the sidewalk, and generally being obnoxious. Not all of them. There were obviously people protesting who had good intentions and they were there for the right reasons, but it did attract a lot of clowns that were there just to have a sort of a street party. But as big as that was and as much attention it got, what did it actually do? It brought attention to an issue that, as soon as the protest died out, went away. Now, this Canadian trucker protest is far more dangerous than Occupy Wall Street because, unlike Occupy Wall Street, this can really grind the country to a complete stop. When truckers don't deliver food, people don't eat. When they block highways, they don't just block food, they block supplies, they block everything. They can bring a country to a standstill. And I think the Canadian government is just starting to realize how dangerous this is because they are doing just that. They have shut down the border between the US and Canada, I think in Alberta, and that suspends international trade. And we've seen how these supply disruptions have caused all these empty shelves in our stores. And just think what happens if half of truckers decide not to work one day. They collectively have an incredible amount of power. And were they to collectively, in any country, as we're seeing in Canada, stop working, park their big rigs downtown and not move them, they can grind things to an absolute halt. And that's why we've seen this really scared reaction by Justin Trudeau to run off and hide. He knows how much power they have, and they don't know how to deal with it. Now, of course, they're doing their normal things, which is, of course, call them racist, say they're stealing food from homeless. That's one story. They're flying flags with swastikas. I saw another story saying that there's people with health conditions who can't get their medicines because the streets are blocked. And there may be some truth to that. But they are casting the protest in the worst possible way. Whereas in Seattle, when they had, taken over 3 blocks or 4 blocks, wherever it was in Seattle, and kicked out the police, and they called that a summer of love. Why did they do that? Well, because they were sympathetic to these left-wing protesters. But again, they weren't actually really going to hurt the power structure and hurt the ability for society to function. And the truckers can do this. And if this spreads to the United States and any other country, that is very dangerous for the establishment. And so we're at the stage now where they're trying to figure out what the hell to do with these truckers. They tried to bring in the tow truck companies, and the tow truck companies said, our employees are sick with COVID-19. Sorry, we can't help you. Now they're saying they're going to bring in the police to arrest people and forcibly move them. Now, this is a interesting thing for the police. Whose side do they fall on? Now, we on the right, we're very pro-police, and I'm very pro-police. But I have to acknowledge that I question, what will the police actually do under certain conditions? Where is their line that they won't cross and they're willing to walk away from their job because they don't want to fulfill an order from a governor or mayor that they believe is immoral? And unfortunately, I do think there are much more police who will follow orders rather than walk away. And so that's what we're going to sort of see with Canada right now. If they bring in the police and law enforcement to get rid of these truckers, how much cooperation will they get from the police? And my guess is a lot. I hope otherwise, but I think the police will go in there, start arresting people, and clear it out, because ultimately, if they don't do this, if they don't clear these truckers out and these truckers sit there, again, they will grind things to a halt. But they will set that precedent everywhere that this is how you can really screw things up and force the government, force the people in power to listen to your arguments and perhaps to comply with some of your demands. And that gives an incredible amount of power to we the people, we small guys, freaking truckers, for Christ's sakes, not scientists and doctors and the cream of the crop of society. Truckers are going to bring our society to a halt and make the powerful tremble. And they are very scared if the truckers get their way. And so these next few days will be very important as far as what will happen in this country and elsewhere based on the success of these truckers. So God bless them. I hope they get what they demand. If they don't, and everything sort of clamped down on them and they're arrested and dragged off, that will be a bad sign for the rest of us. So we'll have to wait and see. That's it for now. Again, if you are new to this channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.